Hello, this is Jessica McKay. I'm an intuitive counselor and spiritual teacher at jessicamckay.com. Thank you so much for watching this video on numerologist.com. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the one thing that you need to do to heal chronic pain or illness. And by that, I'm talking about mystery illnesses, things that we haven't been able to find cures for up until now. Things like digestive issues such as irritable bowel syndrome, autoimmune diseases, fibromyalgia, chronic pain. If you have been to the doctor and had things ruled out, if you've had tests done and they can't figure out what's wrong, there's no scientific explanation for pain or illness, this video is going to be very important to you. So if you or someone you know has been struggling with chronic pain that's unexplainable, that's just always there, or chronic digestive issues, and it's not a specific disease, they can't define it, they can't pin anything on it, this is for you. So this is the number one thing that you need to do. And have in your mind, realize that the body and the mind are one. What you think and how you feel emotionally has a direct impact on your body. It's why the medical establishment has started to focus so much on stress. And they just give it this blanket of stress. But what's really included in that definition is repressed emotions. Emotions that you have not been allowed to express as a child growing up. Most of the time for us, that's anger. We are usually taught that it's not okay to be angry, and we are rejected if we express any anger. So the brain learns that expressing anger, feeling anger, acknowledging anger is dangerous. And so when you start to have anger about something, your brain will say, oh, this is dangerous territory. We can't go there. And eventually, a lot of that anger starts to build up in you as a reservoir of pain. And it's in the body. It manifests as trapped emotions, usually anger, guilt, fear, grief, all of those negative emotions that we don't want to experience. They get trapped in the body. And when that happens, there's not a lot of flow in the body. And so you can have a lot more pain when there's no flow. You can have a hard time detoxing. So this is something that doctors can't see on a microscope. They can't do an MRI and see that you have trapped emotions or that you're dealing with repressed rage. They can't see that on their instruments. So you're probably going to get the diagnosis, well, we don't know what's wrong. You have chronic fatigue syndrome, or you have fibromyalgia, which is a pain disorder. We don't know what causes it. And no disrespect, towards the medical establishment or towards doctors. Everyone's doing the best that they can. And these things are inexplicable because you can't see them. They don't show up on tests. So here's the number one thing that you need to do to start moving some of this pain out of your system. Get a piece of paper and a pen and write down a list. Make a list of all the things that ever happened to you that you can remember that was either traumatic, that embarrassed you, that upset you deeply, that hurt you. Make a list of those things. Things that when you think about today, you still feel a little bit of a charge, even if it happened 30 years ago. You still feel a charge in your body. You feel bad or guilty or just a negative feeling. Anything that gives you that, put on that piece of paper. And then choose one. Choose one of those things. Maybe choose the thing that gives you the biggest charge. The thing that upsets you most when you think about it. And then close your eyes. Take yourself on a journey. Go back in time to that time and place when that traumatic thing happened to you. So if you were bullied, take yourself back to that scene where you were being bullied and imagine what you would do if you had had power back then. If you had been able to express your emotions completely, if you had been able to express your anger, what would that anger have done in that moment? And then let that anger out. Yell at that person. Scream at that person. Let the emotion come up. Let it come up and out of you. And as you do that, right underneath the anger that you're releasing is going to be sadness and grief. Let that come up too. So I want to let you know about that just so you know what to expect. Grief is often right underneath anger. So you've got anger and then grief. And our brains are trying to protect us from even being aware that we feel these things or that we've repressed these things. Because the brain sees that as a threat. It knows that when you were little and you expressed anger and you expressed rage, you were rejected. People rejected you. They told you to leave, go away, and don't come back until you can behave. And we don't use that tone of voice in this house, or whatever was said that told you that who you were in that moment wasn't okay. That was a real threat. That was almost a life or death scenario because you were being cast out from the tribe. And so that primal part of you does not want to allow you to go there, to feel anger, to express it. It's afraid that that's dangerous. So your brain will create symptoms in the body to protect you from feeling your emotions. And the symptoms, the pain, is a total distraction from what you're feeling inside. So sometimes having chronic pain or chronic illness has a purpose, and it's a very good purpose. It stops you from feeling what the brain thinks is dangerous for you to feel. So that's what this exercise is going to do. It's going to blow that wide open. So when you go back to that moment in time, imagine it happening, but this time imagine that you have power to do anything you want. If you need to imagine being violent towards that person, of course you're not going to do that in real life, but if you need to imagine it, go there. Let yourself go there. If you were bullied by people, maybe you beat them up in this imagining in your mind. Do whatever you need to do to release the energy, to release the anger. Because once you do this, once you let go of the emotions and get them out of you, these energies that have been repressed and bottled up for so long, on the other side is your freedom. And you'll be able to look at that event and think about that event without that charge in the body, without feeling the trauma all over again. You will be able to be free, and a lot of the pain that you've been holding is going to start to go away. Now, while you're experiencing this, while you're back there in the past and you're yelling and you're letting out the emotion, you might feel an intensification of symptoms just while you're releasing. And that's good. That's a sign that you're getting somewhere. So this is very powerful, powerful work. And if you need support with it, seek out someone who can be a witness, someone who can hold space for you while you do this. You might seek out a hypnotherapist or an energy healer, someone who can be present for you while you're having this experience. So keep that in mind. And again, share this video if you think it would help someone that you know who's been struggling, battling with chronic issues. Sometimes it's hard to wrap our minds around the fact that pain can actually be caused by emotion. It's not a concept that most of us want to accept or embrace, but can going to the past and letting out that rage and that anger actually help? Yes, it can. And when I say go back to the past, I don't mean that you actually call up people who hurt you and yell at them over the phone. This is something that you would do on your own in meditation. So it's going to give you a tremendous release and a tremendous freedom. It's very, very powerful work. And I've had a lot of success with my clients going through this process. So I have people who have healed chronic issues. So I encourage you to try this. It's very powerful work. So thank you so much for watching. See you next time.